Have you ever sat alone at the kitchen table, staring at your morning coffee, wondering why the days feel heavier than they used to? It's not that anything terrible happened. The world is still spinning. The sun still rises. But something just feels quieter, maybe a little emptier. And if you're being honest with yourself, the happiness you used to feel seems to visit less often. Not gone, but not always within reach. If that sounds familiar, I want to tell you something straight. From the heart, you are not alone. And more importantly, it doesn't have to stay that way. You see, growing older isn't about slowing down. It's about growing wiser, more deliberate, and if we choose to more joyful than ever before. Yes, joy. Real joy. The kind that doesn't come from what you own or how fast you can move, but from what you carry inside. Happiness and mental strength aren't just nice to have in your golden years. They are your power. They're your secret to staying sharp, independent, and alive, not just surviving, but truly living. Now, I know people might say things like, well, it's normal to feel a little down at this age, or, of course, you're tired. You're not young anymore. But what if I told you those voices are wrong? What if happiness and resilience are just like muscles, ones that you can strengthen at any age, starting today? In this video, we're going to walk together through the very real connection between happiness, mental strength, and longevity. I'll share with you some simple, life-changing shifts that can help you feel more grounded, more alive, and more in control of your emotional well-being, even if the world around you is changing fast. Whether you're 60 or 90, it's never too late to choose happiness and grow stronger from within. Let's start with something so small yet so powerful it often gets overlooked. I'm talking about the way you begin your day. Most people over 60 wake up and their mind immediately drifts to the aches in their back, the weather outside, or the long list of pills on the counter. And that's completely understandable. But what if just for a moment you began your day with something else? A mental ritual that sets the tone for everything that follows. Here's what I mean. As soon as you open your eyes in the morning before you reach for your phone or turn on the news, take 10 slow breaths. Inhale gently. And as you exhale, say something kind to yourself. It doesn't need to be fancy. It can be as simple as, I'm grateful to be here today, or I choose peace this morning. You may feel a little silly at first, but I promise it makes a difference. Your brain listens to the words you repeat, and over time, those words can become your armor. The happiest seniors I've spoken to, and I've spoken to many, aren't the ones with the most money or the fewest health issues. They're the ones who practice emotional discipline every day. And it starts with the first 5 minutes of the morning. Now let's talk about something even deeper. The stories you tell yourself. Every single day, your brain is writing a story. It might sound like, I'm too old to try new things, or no one really understands me anymore, or even, what's the point of all this now? And I want to be gentle but honest with you here. Those stories are lies. Quiet, sneaky lies that feel like truth simply because we've repeated them for so long. But you are still writing your story, even now, and you get to edit the script. Mental strength isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing when your thoughts are pulling you down and gently, very gently redirecting them towards something that lifts you up. You can do this by asking one simple question. Every time you feel discouraged, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Let's say you're thinking, I've become such a burden to my kids. Pause. Breathe. Ask the question, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, it's time to change the script. You might replace it with, my children care about me, and I'm allowed to accept love. You don't need to believe it 100% right away, but by planting that new seed, you're already taking back power. Think of your thoughts like a garden. If you never pull the weeds, they'll take over everything. But if you start planting new, kind, nourishing seeds, even just 1 or 2 a day, you'd be surprised at how fast your inner world can change. Now let's talk connection. Happiness after 60 has less to do with how many people are around you and more to do with how meaningful those connections feel. Some people have a big family but feel lonely. Others may only have one neighbor or a phone friend but feel deeply connected. The key here isn't quantity, it's quality. Start by reaching out, not in a big dramatic way, but in small, sincere gestures. Call an old friend just to say hello, wave at the mail carrier, thank the cashier at the grocery store, and ask how their day is going. You might be thinking, what difference does that make? But the truth is, every interaction is a thread, and over time those threads become a net that catches you when life gets hard. Humans were never meant to be islands. We're wired for connection, and choosing to show up with kindness, even when it's not returned right away, builds something priceless: emotional resilience. You don't have to pretend you're happy all the time. That's not the goal. The goal is to become strong enough inside that even on hard days, you don't sink, you float. Let me share a story with you. One woman I met named Mary was 74 and had just lost her husband of 51 years. She told me there were mornings she didn't even want to get out of bed. But one day, she made herself a promise. Just one promise. She would get up and sit by the bay window every morning, no matter how she felt. She did that for 1 week, then 2. Then she started writing down one thing she noticed: birds, clouds, the color of the sunrise. Months later, Mary said, "I didn't realize I was healing, I just kept showing up, and somehow I found my joy again." Healing doesn't always look like fireworks. Sometimes, it's a quiet cup of tea by the window. But that quiet moment, that's where happiness begins. Now that we've opened the door to reshaping our mornings, our thoughts, and our connection to others, let's walk a little further into the heart of what makes our later years not just longer, but richer. One of the most overlooked sources of happiness and mental strength is something we all had as children and somehow lost along the way: curiosity. Do you remember how, when you were young, everything felt like an adventure? A new recipe, a walk down a street you'd never seen, the thrill of opening a book and not knowing where it would take you. And then life got busy. We worked, we raised families, we survived storms. And slowly, we traded that curiosity for routine, responsibilities, and realism. But here's the beautiful part: curiosity doesn't retire. It just waits patiently for you to notice it again. You don't have to book a plane ticket to feel alive. Sometimes it starts by asking a new question, trying a new flavor, watching a documentary about a place you'll never visit, but learning something new just because you can. The happiest older adults I've met are the ones who treat each day as a classroom. They read, they explore, they ask, why not? More often than, why bother? Mental strength grows when you stretch your mind. It's like a muscle. Use it or lose it. But when you do use it, when you challenge yourself to learn just one new thing a week, you begin to create momentum. You begin to feel that spark again. Not the fast-burning kind that fades by dinner, but the steady ember that keeps your spirit warm even when the world is cold. And don't worry if you're not tech-savvy or up-to-date with every trend. That's not the point. The point is showing yourself and the world that you are still growing, still evolving, still beautifully alive. And here's something else I want to share with you. Comparison is a thief, especially after 60. It's easy to look at other people your age and feel like you're behind. He's traveling the world, you might think. She still looks like she's 50. Or maybe, everyone else seems to have it more together than I do. But let me ask you this: what good has comparison ever brought you? Has it lifted your spirit? Helped you sleep better? Strengthened your heart? I didn't think so. What if, instead of comparing, you started celebrating? Not just others, but yourself. Celebrate the fact that you got out of bed this morning. Celebrate the courage it takes to keep going. Celebrate the laugh lines on your face. They're proof you've lived. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are on your own beautiful path, and it's enough. There's this moment I treasure. A man once told me that every night, before he goes to sleep, He looks in the mirror and thanks his body, not for how it looks, but for what it's carried him through. "My legs aren't as fast as they used to be," he said, "but they've walked me through more joy and sorrow than I can count. I owe them gratitude." Isn't that powerful? We spend so much time criticizing our aging bodies that we forget what miracles they are. Every wrinkle is a story. Every scar is a survival. And when you start seeing yourself with gentler eyes, something shifts. You become more grounded, more resilient, and yes, happier. Now let's talk about something many people avoid: solitude. Not loneliness, solitude. There's a big difference. Loneliness is painful. It's feeling unwanted, unheard, unseen. But solitude, that's power. That's choosing to spend time with your own soul and not being afraid of what you'll find there. Some of the strongest people I've known are those who've learned to befriend their own company. They don't rush to fill silence. They listen. They reflect. They walk slowly, breathe deeply, and live fully without needing noise or applause to feel alive. If you've been feeling lonely lately, I want to challenge you to turn some of that time into sacred solitude. Try writing in a journal, light a candle, and just sit with your thoughts. Take yourself out for coffee, not because no one else can go, but because you're worth spending time with. The more you practice enjoying your own presence, the less dependent you become on external validation. And that, my friend, is a kind of freedom most people never find. And finally, I want to remind you of something that sounds simple, but might just be the most important piece of all. Move your body, even gently, even slowly, even for 5 minutes a day. You don't need to run marathons or join a gym. You just need to move. Why? Because movement tells your brain, I'm still here, I'm still in the game. It sharpens your mind, lifts your mood, and sends a powerful message to every cell in your body. We're not done yet. Dance in your living room. Stretch while you wait for the kettle to boil. Walk to the corner just to feel the breeze. Movement brings circulation, but more than that, it brings confidence. The kind of quiet confidence that says, I may be older, but I'm not giving up. There's a kind of happiness that only comes from honoring your body, not punishing it. From moving because you love yourself, not because you hate how you feel. And when you move with joy, your mind follows. So breathe deeply. Be curious. Let go of comparison. Embrace solitude. And move like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. Let's keep walking this path together, and as we keep walking together, I want to slow things down just a little. Not because we're tired, but because some things are too important to rush. Like love, like meaning, like learning how to be truly at peace with yourself, even in the midst of change. If there's one thing that quietly chips away at both happiness and mental strength after 60, it's regret. Regret about what we didn't do. Regret about what we should have said. Regret about who we lost or what time has taken. And sometimes those feelings sneak in when the house is quiet, or when we see an old photo, or hear a song that reminds us of someone who's no longer here. But here's the truth most people never hear. Regret doesn't mean you failed. It means you've lived. If your life has been full of love, full of risk, full of choices made with the best knowledge you had at the time, then yes, you'll have regrets. But instead of carrying them like stones in your pocket, what if you could lay them down? What if you could look at your past and say, I did the best I could with the heart I had, and that's enough, because it is. Mental strength isn't about perfection. It's about compassion, especially for yourself. When you learn to speak to yourself with the same gentleness you would offer a grandchild or a dear friend, everything shifts. You become your own anchor, your own safe place, and happiness begins to grow from the inside out. Now let's talk about something most people overlook when they think about long life. Purpose. Not work. Not obligations. Purpose. When we retire, or when our kids grow up, or when life slows down, It's easy to feel like we've lost our usefulness, but purpose doesn't vanish with age, it simply changes shape. Your purpose might not look like it did when you were younger, and that's okay. Maybe now, your purpose is sharing wisdom, or tending to your garden, or smiling at a stranger who looks like they're having a hard day. Maybe your purpose is just breathing, observing, witnessing the world with a quiet kind of strength that says, I'm still here. I still matter. One woman told me her new purpose after 70 was to write letters, real letters, handwritten ones to people she hadn't spoken to in years. I wanted to tell them the things I was too shy to say when I was younger, she said. And you know what? Most of them wrote back. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be yours. Something that makes you feel needed, connected, alive. Even the smallest ripple can change the course of someone's day sometimes, even your own. And let's not forget laughter. We can't talk about happiness without laughter. Not the polite kind, not the rehearsed chuckles, but that deep belly laugh that makes your eyes water and your cheeks ache. When was the last time you really laughed? You'd be amazed at how healing it is, how quickly laughter cuts through stress, lifts fog from the mind, and reminds you that life is still, somehow, wonderfully ridiculous. Surround yourself with people who make you laugh. Watch comedies, silly videos, listen to stories from younger folks, and laugh at the things they worry about now because once upon a time, we worried about those things too. Laughter makes you resilient. It's an act of defiance. A way of saying, you know what, life? You can throw what you want at me, but I will still find joy. That is strength, and that is freedom. Now, before we close, I want you to take a moment not for me, not for anyone else, just for you. Think about your life, not what's missing, but what's still here. The smell of your morning tea, the photo of your family on the wall, the way the light hits your window around sunset, the softness of your favorite sweater, the way music still moves you. These are not small things. These are life. And if you can slow down long enough to notice them, you'll begin to realize that happiness was never lost. It was just buried under noise, under fear, under expectations. But it's always been there, waiting for you to come back. So as we finish this little walk together, I want you to remember something. You are still growing, still becoming, still a vital, valuable, powerful presence in this world. And no number, no wrinkle, no bad day can take that from you. The key to a long life isn't just in your diet, or your pills, or your doctor's appointments, though all of that matters. But what matters even more is how you choose to live each day from the inside out, with grace, with joy, with quiet strength, with a heart that's still open. You don't have to fix everything. You just have to show up honestly, gently, fully, one sunrise at a time. If this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share what happiness means to you today. What keeps your spirit strong? What little rituals, thoughts, or moments make you feel truly alive? And if you found something helpful here, something that warmed your heart or gave you strength, would you do me a favor? Give this video a like so others can find it too. And if you want more encouragement, more gentle guidance, more real talk for real people, click that subscribe button. We're walking this path together. Here's to living your best life at any age, in any season, and with every breath. You're not done yet. Not even close. You are just beginning again. So here we are, you and I, at this gentle ending that isn't really an ending at all. Because the truth is, life doesn't follow chapters neatly the way books do. There's always a little more to feel, a little more to learn, and always a little more to give. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Even after all you've seen, after all you've lost, after all the seasons that came and went, you still have this moment, right now. This breath, this heartbeat, this choice. That's what happiness is made of, not some grand, glittering event off in the distance, but the way you choose to show up for your own life right here, in the softness of now. You know, so often, we hear the phrase, growing old, gracefully, and we nod politely, not really knowing what it means. But I think growing old gracefully isn't about keeping a perfect posture or always having the right words. I think it's about living with heart. It's about letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore. Resentment, perfectionism, fear of judgment, and making more room for what nourishes you. Peace, forgiveness, presence, joy. Sometimes we hold on to pain because it feels like it defines us. Like letting it go would erase part of our story. But what if the strongest thing you could do wasn't holding on, but opening your hand and setting it free? Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It means you're done carrying that heavy bag on your back. It means you're ready to walk lighter. If there's someone you've been holding anger toward, even if it's yourself, maybe today is the day you say, I release you. I release me. Not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve peace. And with that peace comes something extraordinary. Presence. There's nothing more powerful than a person who is fully present in their own life. Not distracted by the past, not anxious about what's next, just here. Fully awake to this moment, sit with your tea and actually taste it. Step outside and feel the sun on your skin, or the wind if it's cloudy. Listen to the laughter of children from across the street. Feel your feet on the ground and know you're still here. That alone is a miracle. You don't need to rush anymore. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your worth isn't tied to how busy you are or how much you produce. Your worth is in your being. You've earned the right to rest when you're tired, to speak when something matters, and to enjoy your life without apology. And if anyone ever makes you feel like your time has passed, that your best days are behind you, I want you to smile and remember, the most beautiful sunsets come after the longest days. And sometimes, the most meaningful chapters come after the world thinks the story is over. Your story is still unfolding. Let it be a story of quiet joy, of courage, of kindness not just to others, but to yourself. Let it be a story where you say yes to things that nourish you and no to things that drain you. A story where you laugh often, cry when you need to, and stay open to surprises, even the small ones, like finding a new favorite song or discovering a new walking path. Let your story be your own, not a comparison, not a contest, just yours. And if you ever forget how far you've come, take a moment and look in the mirror, not just at your face, but at your eyes, the ones that have seen love and loss and beauty and fear and still have a fire in them, the eyes of someone who chose to keep going. That's strength. That's success. That's the secret to a long, meaningful life. So I hope you wake up tomorrow with softness in your heart and a quiet kind of hope. Not the kind that waits for everything to be perfect, but the kind that whispers, even in this moment, I can choose joy. And if you find yourself struggling some days because you will, we all do come back to this. Come back to yourself, to your breath, to your strength, to the reminder that even on your hardest days, you are never starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. You are not just older, you are deeper, wiser, stronger, and above all, you are still here. That's something to be proud of. If this video felt like a conversation you needed, I'd be honored if you shared your thoughts in the comments below. What brings you joy lately? What lessons has life taught you in your 60s, 70s, or beyond? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you haven't yet, please give this video a like. It helps more people discover this space where aging isn't something to fear, but something to embrace with grace and boldness. And don't forget to subscribe if you'd like more videos like this. This isn't just a channel, it's a gathering place for hearts like yours. Thank you for letting me walk beside you for a little while today. Here's to your strength. Here's to your happiness. Here's to your beautiful, ongoing life. You deserve all of it. Now go live it with love.